Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the outskirts of the internet here on our comfy couch. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for August 25th, 2019, with your host, Peacemaker2448 and Rampant Epsilon.
Hi.
Yes, I did it backwards.
Meh.
It's not the worst mistake I've done with an intro.
No. Seem to recall there has been times where you have said the wrong date all the way around.
Yeah, I've done that. But yeah, this week we are doing the show we missed out on doing last week. So we're covering episodes 37 through 40 of Kamen Rider O's. More or less the last batch of episodes before we go watch the movie and then come back and do the last 8 episodes of the show. We are that close to the end.
Don't feel like we should be, though.
A little bit. Anyway, I would say we talk about Geo for the week, but we've done that already for like an hour, I think, yesterday.
And then did it some more today.
Yeah, some more in the pre-show, so, no, we're good. We're good. I'm good. I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, so 0-1's next week.
Yep, 0-1's next week. It should be good. I hope.
God, I hope so.
Yep.
I don't think I could handle another bad one.
Oh god, I know I can't. I'm just gonna be like, nope. You know what? I'm gonna finally start watching all the show writer shows. I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch Spider-Man. Gonna just watch anything. I'll fucking go watch Dragon Knight because I got the HD DVD Japanese rips that have the English audio tracks.
You know what's bad? I kind of got the want to go back and watch Drive again. Mainly because of Chase being in Geo. It's like, wow, that's honestly bad.
Don't you love how we
reason?
Don't you love how we repeat Chase's death for no reason other than we want you to feel something. This is fan service, right? It's fan service to have a character die in the exact same way he did before, right? Right?
I mean, I like the touch that we had with it, but at the same time, I'm like, it wasn't needed.
No.
It really wasn't.
Chase had no point in these 2 episodes at all, outside of just to be here.
I mean, if it was going to progress Gates' arc for the ending, then maybe, but no.
He's barely in the last episode of the show.
Yeah.
He shows up to being killed.
Quite literally.
Yep. Anyway, we're talking Good Rider. As I said, 37 through 40. They debuted June 5th, 12th, 26th, and July 3rd of 2011. So our June and start of July batch of episodes. I don't know why there's a break there. I didn't check the notes. I didn't check the wiki to see what the break was for. I assume it's kind of the usual breaks we get in here, since there was no specific mention. So probably a golf tournament or something else of that variety.
Some kind of something that they deemed more important.
Yeah, that tells you writer standing in television, where it's just like, no, you get preempted for sports.
Yeah.
Anyway, shall we get rolling?
I guess we shall.
All right, we're gonna kick off with episode 37, Sleep, 100 million in the birth transfer. We start off with Goto doing some research into the birth system, as he's pondering Dante's condition of having a bullet stuck in your head, because that's not good. Extremely not good.
Not for anyone.
No. Meanwhile, at the Koskasier, they're having a China Day, and Hina looks way too much like Chun-Li in this scene for me to ignore. Like, the dress she's wearing is, like, almost color accurate and everything, and I'm like, is this a reference? I feel like this is a reference.
Probably.
We see that Date is hanging out because he doesn't want to go to the doctor, and, because he knows better than the doctor, since he is a doctor, I guess. It's like, what are you going to tell me that I don't know? We see Goto show up, and he's telling Date that he does need to get his checkup, and he will go with him to make really sure that he does, because he cares. And before we end off the cold open, we see that Date gets another one of his attacks, this time out of suit, meaning, we're short on time, aren't we? Oop. Well, time for some desperation. Coming out of the opening, we see Maki laying down the plan for one of the 4 greeds he has with him now to act as the container, but they will need all the metals first, so before then they have to get the metals away from Eiji and Uva. Everybody's on board with this plan, and Kamen and Mazul have already made a yummy to get some cell metals for them to power up with, since they could all use a fresh supply of them. The yummy itself is sticking a bunch of sticking needles in a bunch of people from a high vantage point, and it makes them unable to go to sleep, which can't be good. Like, you lose sleep long enough, you start having hallucinations and shit.
Yeah.
Also, Bazil hits off Maki for humor's sake. I don't know.
I honestly have not gotten that one. Like, I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, that's one of those weird quirks of Osa's writing right now that I'm like, okay, I don't need this. I don't know what we're doing here, but I'm like that. Okay, moving on. So that's all I want is just like, all right, let's move away from that. We see that Chiyoko is one of the people that is unable to fall asleep the next day, and Hina and Eiji end up taking her to the hospital where Date and Goto are at. So Date is also getting his checkup, as a bunch of people are there complaining about the inability to get sleep. We see him getting the checkup, and he's very casual about it. Like, this is routine for him, which I assume it is, which is why he stopped going. Goto is all concerned, and the doc lets him in on the whole situation. Look, the bullet in his brain, we can't do a whole lot about it. It's an extremely risky surgery, and, like, no one's gonna do that.
It's basically he's either gonna die because of surgery or die because of the bullet.
Yep. Goto inquires about the 100 million, and we will see that everyone gets the wrong answer out of it.
Yeah, and what was bad was I was like, okay, maybe this was what the show was wanting us to think, but no. Just no.
Like I may have preemptively spoiled the whole twist with that, but
no,
I feel like
kind of had that idea.
Yeah,
I mean, it was one of those, and I feel like honestly the show really kind of spoiled it more than anything. What's been the thing with Kogami? He always wants people with strong desires.
Yep.
Date's wanting 100 million. We later find out he's got a bullet in his head. I don't think it's to help people. Just saying.
Yeah, especially when a line of his too edgy, what was it, like 3 episodes ago, is, I am a doctor, I have to prioritize my life because if I die, who will save people?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Like, that's what gets me. I can understand Goto kind of falling into that trap. I don't get Edgy falling into that.
No.
I mean, because like you said, Date pretty much told him that, I mean, his life comes first kind of deal. Because otherwise, he's useless. So, I mean, This is one of those I don't get where they came up with and ran with said idea.
Yeah. Picking back up with the episode though, we see that Edgy is alerted to the Yummy by Ankh, and they head out after it because now it's active. It's an armadillo sea urchin combo thing, I assume. So it has really tanky parts that are hard to hit, and it has spiky parts that are also painful to hit. So, uh-oh.
It's just painful to hit.
Yeah. Date ends up arriving, but Goto doesn't want him to fight because, you know, he's concerned about his friend's livelihood, so... Edgy asks for the lion medal, but they don't have it. So they're out of luck on that one. He ends up getting Kwakachu in its place, and it sends the Yomi running away on fire. Date and Goto argue, which leads to Date breaking up their partnership, and he leaves because he can't have Goto holding him back because he does need that 100 million, and he's nowhere close to it at the moment. Goto ends up filling in Edgy on what's going on, and now they're under the wrong assumption that the money is for a hospital in one of the areas Date worked, instead of, you know, for the brain surgery that is required to get the bullet out of his head. Meanwhile, we catch up with Date, who has another small attack, and Maki ends up showing up going, I give you 50 million up front if you work for me, another 50 million if you complete my job, giving you your 100 million. Are you in? And Date is just like, damn it. This sucks. We got to the Yummy putting everybody to sleep, which in turn causes a whole bunch of chaos, because, you know, people just keeling over and falling asleep is probably not the best thing in the world to be happening.
Yeah, probably not.
Yep. Edgy and Ankh end up being alerted to the location, and Edgy tries the axe, the Metagabryu axe, which unfortunately doesn't work. Goto tries gun, which does work, kind of. Edgy ends up getting a Nagi. Yep, Edgy ends up getting a Nagi. And that combination with the axe ends up killing Yummy. But the Colossasauri then shows up, scoops up all the salt metals, and delivers them to 3/4 of the greed. I don't think it delivers them to Ankh. Or, no, not Ankh, Lonk. I think it's just Mazuga, Mel, and Kazari.
I think you're right, actually.
I guess Lonk doesn't need them.
Well, I mean, technically, isn't Lonk all cell metals?
No, he has the rest of Ank's core medals.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he has the rest of Ank's core medals. So he's like 5 at the moment.
But really, doesn't that just put him at the same as everyone else?
Maybe less than Kazari, I believe. But I think on par with Gamel and Uva. Or not Gamel. Or not Uva. Gamel and Mazul. Wow. Can't keep names straight. Kazari, I think, is still 1 away. I think.
I think at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right at this point.
But anyway, so now they are powered up with more cell medals. And we see that Date is now working with them because, you know, he's got to get paid or he's probably going to be dead in the next few days. So he's got to pull this. Which moves us into 38, Circumstance, Farewell, and a Tearful Birth. We kick off where we left off. Maki ends up cutting Edgy's legs out from under him with the power of Purple Core Medal, so he's practically useless for this fight. Date ends up he's not gonna take help because he got to get paid, and that's practically our cold open. We have a short cold open this time around. Coming out of it, Edgy ends up losing 2 of his medals, 2 of the 3 medals that he had on him at the moment, which technically includes Abata, but he gets that replaced in a little bit. Because I saw that one of the core medals was green, and I'm like, oh, you lost, but the episode doesn't, like, the end card doesn't designate that because it gets replaced. Which is one of those just weird things of just like, yeah, it's fine. But Goto causes a distraction using a exploding ride vendor and a bunch of can droids so the 3 of them can escape. Back at the Coast Casino, Hina is filled on this, and Ankh is just not happy since, I lost 2 more medals. And then this guy betrayed us. But everyone else is at least understanding of like why Date did this, which I feel like is one of those cases of, hey, a character did a betrayal or did a traitor, but the traitor makes sense for once instead of just out of the blue for no reason and accomplishes nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not totally referencing how this has been done to fucking death in this goddamn franchise. If you're gonna pull a traitor, have it make sense and actually be for a purpose.
But that's too much work.
Yeah. Meanwhile, back with Maki and the rest of the Greeds, he's storing those extra core medals they got from the fight in the container for the purple core medals, just so it's out of all their hands until they collect them all and then they split them up and go their separate ways. So I guess they can fight it out between them who gets to be a container. We see that Lonk is showing more of Ank's personality, which is not good, especially considering what's to come in the next 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We check in with Goto, who's with Kagami asking for an advance to win Date back. But Kagami just is like, no, I'm not going to interfere in this. You're not getting an advance, mainly because you're not worth it. Date is worth it more to me. If you want to get him back, step up. Which step up he will. Meanwhile, checking back in with Maki, he plans for him and Date to pull the others into a trap on their own. And there's a weird thing about these 2 episodes that, like, in the long term is kind of weird, that Date is at their base knows where their base is, but doesn't tell everyone else.
Yeah.
Which might be one of those cases of, even if he did tell them, what are they going to do? Go storm it? Where it has 4 greeds plus Maki waiting for them?
True. I mean, that
This
would
is one of
be
those
kind of walking into a reverse trap.
Yeah.
I mean...
It's like, yeah, let's go take all of the greeds on at once, when we've clearly shown that we can't do that. So the next day, Maki calls out the heroes with a little, like, purple core metal communication, being like, hey, come here. Hey, Edgy, because I guess it's just how he's gonna just use them now. It's just like, poke, hey, Edgy, hey, by the way, hey.
Don't forget that I
need
still
you to do
here.
So they're at a warehouse with Maki and his Volkswagen Beetle. I just still find it hilarious that our main bad guy drives a Beetle. The least intimidating car in the world.
Yep.
Because, like, for me at least, I can't help but go, oh, you're driving the same model of car that Herbie is. I'm sorry, but no. Could you at least drive a more intimidating car than a goddamn Beetle? Although I wouldn't be surprised that Beetles are stupidly popular in Japan, because they are a nice small car. Anyway, Maki ends up sicking Date on Edgy and Ankh to get their medals, but Goto arrives saying that he will fight Date with only his gun if he won't listen, because Goto's finally going to step up. Yay! Date goes berth and tells the others to stay out of the fight amongst brothers. But as it turns out, he's going to turn on Maki, since he's been working for Kagami all along, apparently. That feels like a weird thing to throw in here. But Maki has a contingency for this because there's a bomb in the birth suit, and he will blow it with his, like, little button pen.
Because he knew that Date wouldn't read the manual.
But too bad for him that Goto did read the manual and knew about the bomb and took it out after he left. So it's been, like, out for several dozen episodes, like several episodes at this point. So that's when the Greens arrive and they back up Maki and they just tear into Date and, like, blow him up. So, Eiji takes Greens outside so Goto can have, like, one last moment before Date dies. I'm going to say in quotations for later. Meanwhile,
I'm
Eiji...
not gonna lie, it did kind of get me because I was like, oh, they did that. Oh.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we'll get to that.
Yep. Meanwhile, Eiji is on the back foot with the Greeds the entire time, and a full combo, this case Gozo, which I think is, like, just about only the full combo he has on him at the moment, is not enough. But Goto arrives, driver in hand, and he takes on the Greed in birth and just goes through all of the birth weapons to come birthday and just blows all the Greed away in one shot. Because Goto is angry, Goto is pissed, Goto smash! Like, he literally smashes into a building and drops debris on because he just is like, God damn it, why can't you be more careful? You're just as bad as he is. Lonk shows up and gets them the retreat, but Ankh gets some replacement medals, and Lion, specifically for his efforts. The three go back and see Date, who has one last thing to say, and that is he needs his funds transferred to his retirement account, because, by the way, I'm still kicking. I'm not dead. I just kind of passed out there for a second. which leaves Goto confused, and Ankh is just laughs and is like, idiots, the lot of you, and just walks away.
And what is completely hilarious is the fact that that is so in character for him.
O's does wonderful character work with just a single word. So, Goto gets 50 million from Kagami for training Goto as his replacement and all the work he did, which, with the advance he got from Maki, which I guess he regrets giving him now, he's got 100 million, so he's out. He's leaving Goto to be birthed now. Eiji, Ankh, and Hina see him off at the airport, which, once more, Ankh just delivering the best line in the world. Is just like, my name's Ankh, jackass. But Goto doesn't see him off, because he will see him again. And we end the episode there. So how do you feel about Date's bow out from the show?
Like I said, so in character for him.
Mm-hmm. I don't know the specifics, but I think Date wasn't supposed to live, I guess.
Probably not.
But they changed it because Date is such a goddamn good character. And they're like, fuck, we can't get rid of this character. So instead, he gets to just leave and go get his surgery. Now, considering I've already spoiled that, like, Proto-Birth is in the series, I'm sure you're wondering if Date will come back.
Yeah.
Which I say right now, yes, Date will return in the final 8 episodes of the series, and he will claim the Proto-Birth driver. But any other thoughts on these 2 episodes?
No. I feel like that was honestly spot on for how I would expect something like that to go. Especially after everything we've been through with Date thus far.
Yeah. I love that it's a good send-off for Date. A great, like, start for Goto as Birth. Like, a great opening fight for him as Birth. And also, it's the debut of Reverse Rebirth in the background, because that is the Birth song. And I love that they saved it for Goto's debut fight, since it is a song for the both of them. They both sing that song. Anyway, we are going to carry on to our next 2 episodes, starting with episode 39, The Nightmare, Security Cameras, and Ankh's Revenge. We see that Ankh is having a nightmare about Eiji letting Ankh absorb him, and also being in a dead body, which, you know, was probably not good for his psyche at the moment.
It could be worse.
Yeah, so his day's just starting off great. And he pretty much tells Eiji, keep your shit in check, because I'm not dealing with it today. That is when the local community leader drops by to talk about all the cameras he's put in the neighborhood, because security, it's for the good of the community. And he also points out the photos of Ankh on the roof. Which I love. It's just like, yeah, here's a still image from one of the episodes of Ankh just hanging out on the roof casually, because that's just what Ankh does. And he kind of wants both him and Eiji to leave, because they're a nuisance. You're a nuisance to the community. You need to leave. I forgot to put in where the cold open is. Ow. Oops. So, no designation on the cold open. My bad. Eiji ends up saying no and heads out, and says no, and the community leader just heads out to go pester some more people. Meanwhile, Lunk plots in a tree, much like Ankh. I love that that him plotting is happening in a tree, not unlike Ankh. I believe this is where technically the cold open happened, or the ended. So yeah, coming out of it, Joko is pissed, like visibly pissed about all this bullshit going on, and is ready to rip that guy a new one. Also, we find out it's the detective's birthday, so they're kind of using it as Ank's birthday too, much to his chagrin. So, Meanwhile, Kagami is welcoming Goto in as Birth, and he gets a new attire, which is one of those reasons that Megawar is not in canon, because this is his attire for the rest of the series. And he assigned Satonaka as his assistant to help him fight, since Birth fights better with an assistant.
Apparently.
But she's technically over Goto in the chain of command of Kagami Foundation, so it's whatever. Back at the Kuskasir, Ankh is just having none of whatever the fuck's going on just this day, because he's just in a bad mood. Over this whole situation, and Eiji ends up finding himself in the middle of it with both Hina and Ankh. So it's just a bad day for everybody. Because Hina's upset about the whole birthday situation, Ankh's upset about the nightmare. We check in with Chiyoko real quick, who tries to talk to the leader, but is stonewalled by his wife, because of course. And we see him like hovering over all the security cameras, like, I'm just writing people up for stupid, dumb things because he's got nothing better to do. But the people who get wrote up by him are attacked by Yummy. It's actual chicken Yummy. I can't help but love the irony in that. Of every time we had a bird Yummy and Date called it a chicken, and Goto's like, no, it's this kind of bird. But now that we have a chicken Yummy, Date's nowhere around to be like, ha, it's a chicken Yummy now.
Yeah.
It also has some weird Muay Thai boxing routine it does with accompanying sound effects. I don't know why this exists. I feel like this is one of those weird quirks of Osa's writing peeking in, because this feels unnecessary. But Eiji and Ankh try to fight it, but it ends up getting the better of them because of its oddball fighting style. And Lonk is observing this, and we see he's becoming more and more like Ankh. Eiji does a mix-up with metals, and it manages to send the chicken back across the road it came on, but it still gets away. Meanwhile, Satonaka found the switch to the Candroid, the Gorilla Candroid, and turned it off, meaning Goto did not know about this Yummy, so that's why he didn't show up. I love that the Candroid has a switch, like the actual toy. I wouldn't be surprised if that's an actual toy version of the Candroid that she had as a prop for the scene.
Probably was. Because that would just be spot on for it at that point.
Yeah. Checking back in with Chiyoko and Hina, they decide to put claws over the cameras because fuck the community leader, asshole. We do what we want. But that causes the Yummy to go after them. We see Goto head out, but Eiji and Ankh are the first to arrive, as Hina tries to keep Chiyoko out of the loop that Eiji is O's for some reason.
Yeah, I don't
feels weird.
To keeping the charade like that.
Yeah.
I guess maybe they figure that if she knows that he's O's, then they'll have to tell her about Ankh. But that don't make any sense either.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to tell him that he's some weird bird monster thing. Checking back on the Goto, he ends up leaving Satsunaka behind. I know I wrote it wrong in the notes. I know no one but you sees the notes, but I might as well make the reference of I wrote it in the notes wrong. But he leaves her behind because she's taking too long to get prepared. Because she's got to do the whole makeup costume routine for some reason. But we see Goto arrive, and Edgy and the two of them get the better of the Yummy for a bit. But he proves too powerful and wraps the pair up in ribbons because this chicken sends ribbons out for some reason. I don't know why. I don't get the connection.
I didn't either, actually. Because it was one of those that was like, okay. That's the thing,
is here.
I guess?
Yeah. Ankh tries to help, but only ends up getting the detective injured, which makes Edgy go Puto Terra, because Edgy mad.
Edgy mad, edgy smash.
Pretty much. Chiyoko finally arrives and helps, and they manage to drive off the Yummy since it pulled a disappearing act with a dome of ribbons. We find out that the wife is the one behind the Yummy, not the husband, and she's a bit of a control freak, and maybe also and also maybe a little crazy. I think she needs a hobby. But everything is looking bad on all fronts as Long continues his game to get his body back, kind of. Although it's technically not his, but eh. That takes us out of 39 and into 40. Control, a birthday present, and the disappearing Ankh. Ankh gets back in the detective's body to make it easier to treat him and move him, since, you know, a moving body is easier to move than a unconscious body.
A little bit, yeah.
We see the Yummy take control of the local cops to further enforce the rules, which is causing a great deal more problems for everyone involved. And Lonk is continuing to plot as he is waiting for the right moment and opening in order to claim Ankh. And that's our cold open. Coming out of it, he is treating Ankh, and they kind of make up a little bit. They're kind of back on good terms, because, like, okay, we all understand the situation. It's not a big of a deal, I guess. We see a set of rules are delivered, and that must be followed, which is pisses Chiyoko off real good. Like this is the most Chiyoko has gotten to do this entire series, and I kind of like it. Because she's been like just a supporting character for most of the series. That's not been super important, but this feels like her 2 episodes, kind of. The controlled cops arrive as well to escort Edgy and Ankh out of the neighborhood, which Edgy says yes to, and just so nobody gets hurt. That won't last long, because after they leave, Chiyoko proceeds to beat the shit out of all the cops off screen.
And literally all the cops.
Yeah, all of them. And I love how Hina, the one with super strength that could actually take all of them, is just standing there like, holy shit, she can whip ass. Edgy and Ankh end up trying to go after the Yummy, but it is well guarded at the moment by the cops who are being controlled, so they just back off for now. But two of them plus Goto are going to try to figure out a way to draw it out, and they split up to get some leads. So Eiji and Unk end up just camping out by the river, like they did at the start of the series, which is a really nice callback. Hina arrives because her and Kyoko got kicked out too, because, you know, Kyoko kind of kicked all the cops' ass. That probably warrants you being escorted out, which, like, Hina still has a place to live. And so does, technically, Ankh. Can't they just crash there?
Well, and, you know, Kyoko doesn't live at the Kusir, so... I mean...
as we found out... Like, the only person who actually lives at the Kusir is technically Eiji. Like, it's needed, but it still feels weird. I'm like, have you been kicked out of everywhere you could go, or just the Kusir? But Unk tries to be threatening, but he can't, because he actually likes them. So there goes his ability to threaten anyone to do anything he wants anymore. But Joko arrives so they can have a bit of a party, since they've all been ran out of town. So we might as well just have the birthday party here. The next day, the Yomi continues to hide out until Eiji just figures out that, oh, if we cause problems, we can pull it out. So let's just have the Kandroids go fuck with all the cameras. That'll pull it out. Goto heads out and leaves a note for Satonaka that says he can have 5% of his. She can have 5% of his pay if she will not take a year to get ready. So, I love how we're just starting to establish their relationship that only gets to last for about 8 episodes, because we don't have that much time, but we're trying.
Better than nothing.
Yep. Eiji and Goto fight with the Yumi, which is going good for the moment, and Jogo even arrives to help out, but only by so much, because, you know, you're gonna have to give her more than 5% of your pay for her to actually, like, put in more effort. Which makes me wonder, how much is Kogami paying her to do all the stuff she does?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I have to assume a lot, considering how much she does. But they finally managed to take out the Yumi with La Tirata, which kind of snaps the wife out of the mad queen persona she's had, but she's still kind of a bit of a dick to her husband, so,
yeah.
Unk just tells Eiji, it's like, look, leave him alone. We're not gonna bother. And I'm not in the mood. So we're back at the Kusir, and we're ready to call it an episode, and it really feels like we're ready to call it an episode as Unk, like, takes the gift that Hina got and has an ice pop in hand, and he heads up, only for Lunk to be sitting in his spot. Uh-oh. And Lunk starts to absorb Unk, and Eiji and Hina only arrive just in time to see Unk disappear, and Lunk revives fully. The arm we've seen him have transfer over to where Ank's arm should be. And yeah, that's bad.
That's
and
really
I think
bad.
To further reverse how bad it is, the Count the Metal scene removes all the medals except the Putotera ones.
Yep.
Which is probably technically not correct, because they're probably still in the medal holder that's on the detective's body, as we'll see probably in the next episode. But still, like, this is bad.
I think we actually see in the previews. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I think it even shows that in the previews. So, technically, he didn't lose the medals, but, I mean...
So yeah, here we are, episode 40. Anka's gone, and we end on a cliffhanger because we're gonna go do the movie after this. What would you think of these 2 episodes?
Can't believe you ended us on a cliffhanger.
What was I gonna do? Would you like it after the next batch of episodes? Because I guarantee you we'll end on a cliffhanger there.
Yeah, very true.
Like, we either end on a cliffhanger, or we do it after the show.
Yeah, true.
Because technically the movie, because I think we just now in the openings, or like at the end of the episode, we'll get like a commercial for the movie, which kind of spoils the best scene of the movie.
Oh, wow.
Okay, like, I don't mean that in a bad way, but I do mean that in the sense of, yeah, that is that's the most memorable part of this movie, is that fight scene. Of course, it's also one of the most baffling scenes of the movie because of how it's set up, but This movie is weird. Because I believe this wasn't the movie we got for O's Wonderful is not the original movie we're going to get, but because of all the earthquake stuff that happens, like the year O's aired, they changed it to be kind of more of an upbeat movie. So we're kind of left with an oddball movie that kind of works still and is fine, but it's not spectacular.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's not enough for me to say, oh, it's like the best solo writer film, because that is still held by A to Z for me. 9 solo movies later, A to Z still beats out everything.
I have to kind of agree with you on that one, actually.
Yeah. And there's still, what, like 2 solo films you haven't seen? O's and Forze?
I don't remember if I watched the Ghost one or not, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, you're not missing much out on the Ghost one, to be honest. Unless you want to see yet another instance. Yeah, I was about to say, do you want another counter? Like, do you want another counter for Takaru dying? Because that's the movie at the end.
Of course it is.
Yeah, they will not stop killing Takaru and Ghost Material, and I don't understand it. It's the worst.
Well, it can't be Ghost if he's alive, right?
But that's beside the point. They keep murdering him is the problem. It's just like, oh my god, why? You murdered this child I think it's 4 or 5 times over across all of Ghost's media. It's ridiculous. Stop murdering him. He doesn't deserve this.
But it's so fun. Like, if only they could have done that to Soga, that probably would have made Geo a little bit better.
I'm not gonna lie, I probably would actually like to see, like, can we get one scene of Soga being murdered by someone on the cast? I would actually appreciate that.
One. Let's go for 4 while we're at it.
Yeah. Well, these 2 episodes are good. I like them. Yeah. I like how this is all, it feels like 2 filler episodes of O's. But it's all, like, even the end of the episode feels like it's, oh, okay, so Lonk's plan didn't work out and stuff. But it's like, oh no, this is all just one big distraction. So Lonk can just quietly sneak in and be like, hi, I want your medals now. I'm just gonna take them. Goodbye. Yeah, any other thoughts?
No, I don't think I got any, actually.
Alright, next week, you're gonna have to wait on this cliffhanger, because we're gonna go check out O's Wonderful and the 21 core medals. I believe that's the full title. Let me double check that. I always refer to it as O's Wonderful, so I don't remember what the full title is. Okay, correction. Kamen Rider O's Wonderful, the Shogun, and the 21 core medals. Which is technically not canon. And also had a scene in its movie get reused for Ghost.
You've got to be kidding me.
I'm not. It's hilarious. Like, not effects, but all of the other work and everything get reused.
Wow.
Ah.
Dang.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll be checking that out next week. So for Tommy, I'm Peace. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week for more O's.